All right, this is a great example of a number 4 being at the top. So this is Jimmy Carter. By the time you watch this video, I'm sure he's probably going to be dead or close to dead. He's 98 years old. He's lived one of the most loving, fulfilling, successful lives as a great human being. He's always been old. He's born in 1924. This picture here, he's like in his about mid-50s. This is like basically when I was born, 77, 78. So he's always been an old guy. And so Ronald Reagan beat this guy. And I think Ronald Reagan, kind of looking at some clips of Reagan, he seems to be possibly a number 1. He seemed kind of like ESFP. He seemed to be just like fucking on it. So let's say Reagan was playing the archetype of a number 1. I don't know exactly what type he was. Carter, he seems to be the same type as Mr. Rogers. So TI, SI, double feminine, mopey guy, and a number 4. And so he's lived his life since his presidency, like he's been doing this the past 50 years or so, doing Habitat for Humanity, helping people, loving people, building houses with his own bare hands and a team of people. Like just a very loving person, specializing, just doing random things. Not a commander, a dominator, a business guy, not a number 1, not a number 2. Just a real nice number 4. Let me just kind of break this down real quick, and I want to be talking about this more and processing this. If you're double masculine, that doesn't mean you're the biggest, strongest person in the room or the bully in the room. It doesn't mean it. Now, that does cluster in double masculine. Now, if you're double feminine, it doesn't mean you're the most feminine person because you could be Dwayne Johnson. Dwayne Johnson is double feminine, so it kind of messes up the bell curve as well. If you're a female, it doesn't mean that all the males are taller than you. You might be taller than some males. You know what I'm saying? So there is clustering. Yeah, the number 1s tend to be at the top because they want to be. They want, their identity is like, I'm not happy here. I'm not happy here. I'm not happy here. Oh, here we go. Here's where I'm happy. And the rest, the 4s, 3s, and 2s are like, I'll settle for somewhere in here. Which is why Jimmy Carter, a number 4, gets to be a number 1. And they're like, all right, time to go. He's like, okay, good. Thank God. It's the person that wins the lottery, and they're like, I don't want to live the millionaire lifestyle, and their identity gets rid of it. They're like, I'm not comfortable with taxes and butlers and cleaning cars and house maintenance and the media. I just want to hang out with my buddies, and they knock themselves back down to where they're comfortable. It's the thermostat Ed Mylett talks about. So it's not that you can't. It's just the chances are you probably won't, or you just don't want to. You just don't want to. It's like Save Your SF. They're like, oh, I didn't get to be NT. It's like, hey, Dick, do you want to work on computers all day? They're like, well, no. Like, well, then be thankful for the deck of cards you got. Like, do you want to be at the top? Really think about it. I don't want to have that much fucking attention. I think the things that when we talk about being at the top, I think we got to be careful with the social stuff. Don't think about it like a hierarchy. That's like the masculine feminine of like, well, I need to be more masculine so I can beat everybody up. It's like, hey, leave that in junior high. Sensory and intuition, I got to be the smarter one. Like, hey, stop. Like, we're way past that. It's more of like the character traits of like, okay, which deck of cards did you get, Dwayne Johnson? Which deck of cards did you get, Ed Mylett? Which deck of cards did you get, Jimmy Carter? It's like, okay, great. So here's the deck of cards I got. Okay, I got a little better one here than you. And then, okay, so now what are you going to do with it what is a real successful person? Is it money? No. Is it status? Like, no, not. Is it muscles? Is it double masculine? No. Is it intuition? Is it IQ? No. It's really like what you see in this person named Jimmy Carter that happens to be TI and happens to be double feminine and happens to be a number 4 is somebody that really decides to own their life, to be the grown-up, to be loving, to be happy with his deck of cards, to be fulfilled, to get up every day with what he has and be loving, thankful, and abundant and give to others. Now, if he was a number 1, he could have stayed in politics much longer in his life and given to people in a different way, through the military. Let's go give democracy and freedom to all those other countries. He could have gave that way. But because he's a number 4, he's like, I'm going to give with specializing in the here and the now and build houses and help quietly. So it's like Jimmy Carter, as his life is coming to an end, it's like, to me, I'm like, this is an example of the type of person I want to be.
I, Jimmy Carter, do solemnly swear.
A one-term Georgia governor, he was elected in 1976 in the wake of Watergate and Gerald Ford's pardon of Richard Nixon. As president, Carter engineered the return of the Panama Canal, launched the Departments of Energy and Education, forged the SALT II missile treaty with the Soviet Union, and presided over the Camp David peace agreement between Israel and Egypt. But he often seemed ill at ease in the job. The economy floundered, but what really doomed his presidency was when Iranian radicals took over the U.S. Embassy in Tehran and held dozens of Americans hostage for more than a year. Jimmy Carter was defeated by Ronald Reagan in 1980.
Look at that, the power in Ronald, just the way that he fucking walks, the power in Ronald Reagan, right? I'd love to go back and kind of get to know him in real life. But you see Carter there at his desk, he's like, just wearing his fucking Mr. Rogers sweater. His goddamn Mr. Rogers sweater. Like literally Mr. Rogers. T-I-S-I double fin. Mr. Rogers had to be at number 4. Friendliest fucking guy in the world, right? I wonder what type Bill Nye is. That's interesting because you get, this is Elon Musk. This is Bill Nye. And Elon Musk, I believe, to be at 2. So he's like very entrepreneur driven. As much as he's kind of a show off, he's not really ego. He's like, yeah, whatever. He just likes hanging out with Joe Rogan, smoking shit, like the Friends thing. And then just trolling everybody, not trying to be Conor McGregor, not trying to be Trump, Elon Musk. Bill Nye, what the hell would Bill Nye be? I don't know. I can't figure out about Bill Nye. Donald Hoffman. But this would be the Mr. Rogers version of this type. You know what I mean? Like we see quite a few of these TISIs and they kind of will cluster up. Like this guy, when you get to know him, he's a twin of Mr. Rogers. Anybody know who Mr. Rogers is, by the way?
He also dabbles in oil painting. But once again, there's a story there.
I really got started painting 2-3 years ago when I wrote a novel called The Hornet's Nest. And we were searching for a cover for my book. So I decided to paint the cover. And it turned out pretty well, yes.
Now his paintings sell for up to $250,000. So do the pieces of furniture he handcrafts.
Well, this is the last piece that I made in it.
And if you'd like to own a Jimmy Carter original, well, this armoire will be auctioned off next month. But Jimmy Carter will keep none of the money for himself. Profits from all his artworks go to fund the Carter Center. Because no matter how much he loves his hobbies, his true passion is charitable work.
Okay, it's not that he's such a good guy. It's that all the rest of us are such fucking jerks. He's just constantly giving charity. He's in his fucking 80s in this fucking interview and he's still just giving and loving. Oh yeah, I'm just painting and building furniture and giving it away. God damn it. Meanwhile, Trump is fighting the fucking mob.
In fact, he jokes that if he had been reelected, he and Rosalind might not have started the Carter Center. He eagerly gives her equal credit for everything he has achieved.
It just seems like you are just an amazing marriage.
Friends.
What keeps it so great?
Well, if we go till July, it'll be 60 years together as man and wife. And we learned a long time ago how different we are from one another.
Listen.
And we also saw that despite the inevitable incompatibilities during the day, we resolved many years ago not to ever end a day without being reconciled.
So you always kiss each other goodnight?
Yes, at least.
Incompatibilities during the day, the differences. So something that I'm definitely seeing as I'm getting older as well, 45 years old now, is that with healthy relationships, it's not this magical infatuation land fucking forever. Like there's a lot of like sparky chemicals that bring you together. And then over the years, like he's literally saying, he's like, yeah, my marriage is kind of boring. Yeah, we kind of have a lot of differences. We kind of stay apart from each other. And it's like he's saying that, but like you don't believe that. Like he's super nice. You see them together, like, oh, they must be great all the time together. But it's like, as I'm getting older, I'm now being able to see that because I believe it, experience, etc. So it's like, sometimes when you really, really love somebody, you start to realize we're a different social type. We're a different function type. We have a lot of attraction, but now we're going on 60 fucking years. You know what? I'm going to be in the garage doing my fucking thing. You be down at the fucking store and you be doing your thing. And that's okay. And that's okay. One last thing on the social type, what we found very fascinating is that this type should be a very DI anti-friends type. This was something that never made sense in our math over the past few years, is that we would see TIs, introverted TIs, and they're assholes and they hate everybody and they're like, yeah, fuck the tribe. It's almost like a relief. Like, oh, good. That makes sense. The data, that's normal. But then you would find these other TIs, and then some of them would like come over to our house, we'd be friends with them. We're like, why the goddamn hell are you so nice and so friendly? Like, what's going on? You're play last, and in some cases, you're fucking TI-SI masculine, like you're a mope. Like, why do you love people more than I do? What the hell is going on here? And we just like, oh, it's the upbringing and their parents. Like, you're just sweeping it under the modified rug, my parents' rug. Like, that rug that we used to just sweep all those weird things under, that rug is just getting smaller and smaller and smaller. You're like, oh, this is friends first. This is a number 4. This is friends first. And then as friends, it's like, where can I specialize? Is it painting? Is it fucking armoires? Is it being the fucking president? Is it helping down at the church? I don't give a shit. Like, you want me to build the house? I'll go build the specialize. Based on where the friends are. It's been life-changing, and I'll shut up after this. It's been life-changing with our son Cody as a number 4 to realize that it's backwards. Like, listen to this. I used to tell him, like a normal parent would, like, hey, you can't play with your friends until you do your chores and your homework and your responsibilities. I mean, who's going to argue with that? Like, yeah, right? But it turns out it doesn't work. With having a son who's a number 4, What works is as soon as he gets home, do minimal chores and homework and stuff like that. We all kind of help out with that. And then it's like, okay, you need to focus on friends. Go hang out with your friends. Get online. Oh, it's raining? Get online and play online with your friends. I'm like, I can't believe I'm telling a 12-year-old, you need to get online. It's been a few hours. You got to get back on your friends. Because what happens if I treat him like I would treat myself, like, hey, you got to do your responsibilities and then you can have your friends. Though that works in the ST, he just gets sad. He gets sadder and sadder, more depressed, more dark, and it's spiraling. You're like, and then he just gets in this loop where it gets worse and worse. And Shanning's picked up on this years ago, but just we didn't know how to identify it. But when you give a number 4 friends first, guess how Cody is by the end of the night? He is full of energy. He's loving his life. He sings when he does the dishes. His little feminine FI comes out, and he just roars through all his responsibilities. He's so proud of himself. He loves everybody, and it's like, God damn. Like, I was about to really fuck this up the next 10 years. And like, thankfully, knowing the social type thing, just making that tweak, it's just scary to think if you were to force yourself to stay in a situation that is really not built. If Carter forced himself to stay in politics, how fucking miserable he would be. You know what I'm saying?
So you're an optimist about where this country's going.
I have total confidence in this nation and its people, yes.